Good morning, everybody. It's a bit rare for me to do a video this early in the morning, and I know some people will say 11:30 in the morning is not early. Oh yeah, it is early for me if I don't have to go to school or do anything else. Usually I wake up in the afternoon and I sleep very late in the evening. So yeah, this is a bit unusual, but I want to get this done. I want to get the last ever news of the week of 2018 done. And this will also be the last ever video where I'm going to be using this board. So, tomorrow, when I do the 25 things I expect to happen, or the 25 bold prediction that is going to be happening in MLS next season, that's going to be not on the board. I'm just going to say it off my phone because I have the list on my phone. But let's actually get into the news of the week, and there wasn't a lot of news in the Christmas break. There was actually nothing going on during the Christmas break, and then just recently, in the last couple of days, there's been some news that I need to talk about, and some of these news I kind of mention it in previous news of the week video, but this kind of confirms it. And the first thing that I'll talk about is something that I mention a lot throughout these past couple of months. I talk about how Columbus was getting very close to potentially getting new owner, and that the Haslam and Edwards family were getting really close to confirm the deal, and that they will be taking over the Columbus Crew. Well, just a couple of days ago, the deal has officially been finished and agreement has been reached, and that in a matter of hours or a couple of days, Jimmy Haslam and also the Edwards family will become new owner of the Columbus Crew. So Anthony Precourt will have nothing to do with the Crew anymore. He will run off to Austin to potentially start his new team in MLS, that is Austin FC. And this also is a news that confirmed that Columbus will be playing MLS next year. And like I said many times before with Columbus and their situation of whether or not they're staying in Columbus or not, this is what a story this has been. I mean, what a way. I mean, if you're a Columbus Crew fan, this is probably the best way to end 2018. I mean, with all that speculation, with this year being such a drama-filled year off the field, this is probably the best way to finish the season. And I don't care if Haslam hasn't really been a good owner. I know some people have already made speculation that, well, yeah, Columbus has been saved, but they've been taken over by an owner that basically had no idea how to run a team when he was running with the Browns, and how it just turns into a shit show. But at least Columbus has an owner that actually cares, and this is an owner that is born in Columbus. So he's a local kind of owner, and yeah, it's better to get someone that is local than get someone that wants to threat your team to move to Texas in the upcoming year. So yeah, that's all I'll say about that. Although, again, I don't know if there's going to be, after this move is going to be done, I'm not quite sure how are they going to run this team. Let's just hope that Haslam does not run this team like what Robert Kraft does with the Revolution, where Kraft obviously owns the Patriots, and yeah, he only kind of invests in the Patriot and doesn't really care anything about the New England Revolution, which is why the Revs has been really bad for the last couple of years because of the lack of investment. But that's just another story to talk about later on. Right now, I think a lot of Columbus fans will celebrate the fact that they're staying in the league. Another story that I talked about last time, and this is something that kind of made me a little bit of a genius. Guillermo Barrio Scaleto reports to agree a deal with the Galaxy. So, I said in the last episode that with Scaleto not going to Atlanta, most likely he's going to go to LA now. Well, what do you know? Look like he is potentially going to LA, and this deal, of course, is not completely finished. I know there are some people that says that, yeah, Scaleto is now the new head coach of the Galaxy. No. They only agree a deal. And remember last time when we had this situation where Caleb Porter agreed a deal with the Galaxy? Yeah, look what happened to that deal. And look what happened to Caleb Porter. He did snub the Galaxy and looked like he's on his way to join the Columbus Crew. So I'm saying that Scaleto has agreed with a deal, but it's not official that he is becoming the new head coach and that the Galaxy has announced on their Twitter page or on their website that he is now the next head coach of the LA Galaxy. But I expect that this is going to happen because it just makes sense. The fact that Scaleto is going to join the Galaxy after originally the Galaxy was rumored to get Scaleto ahead of Atlanta United. And then next up, FC Cincinnati acquire Alvis Powell from Portland Timbers for 250,000 GAM. And again, this news kind of almost confirmed itself before today or yesterday when it was finally gone through where Alvis Powell was going to FC Cincinnati. I mean, a lot of people already knew that Alvis Powell was on his way out of the Timbers and that Cincinnati was his destination. And this news kind of confirmed that he will be going to Cincinnati. And, Cincinnati does get a decent kind of defender that is Alvis Powell. I know Powell did not do a very good job in the playoffs and he wasn't very good, but he's decent, okay? And maybe they could use him either as a depth piece or maybe they can use him as a starter. Most likely, I think they're going to use Alvis Powell as a starter, and the Portland Timbers will get 250,000 general allocation money in return, which is a good amount for a return for a defender. Usually when you trade defender to another team, you don't usually get a lot of money. So 250,000 GAM is right on the level where it's kind of above average of what would you get for a defender. And Alvis Powell, again, he's a decent kind of defender, but at times he does have his liability, and we saw that liability in the playoffs this season. Lawrence Simon returns to MLS after he joined TFC via allocation ranking. TFC will give FC Cincinnati and the second spot in the allocation order. So, the thing about the allocation order, and I know some people are saying, what exactly is the allocation ranking? Well, basically, it's a ranking between each team where they can acquire a player that used to be in MLS, but they gone to Europe, and now they're going back and come back to MLS, and that the team that is in the highest order of the ranking will have first dibs in terms of claiming that player and whether or not they want to claim that player. So in this case, TFC was in the top spot. TFC weren't in the top spot to start this season. I believe they were all the way near the bottom or in the middle of the pack, but they traded up their allocation order a couple of months ago with the Quakes and gave them a couple of extra money in terms of I believe it was TAM or GAM that they gave the Quakes to move up the allocation order. I know the Quakes was right up near the top in terms of the allocation order. And then now they gave FC Cincinnati a little bit more money and also gave them the second allocation order to move into the top spot of the allocation ranking, and thus that's why they're able to claim Lawrence Simon, because Simon, he used to be with LAFC and Montreal before he go back to Europe, and now he's returning to MLS. And this move kind of said that TFC is definitely for real next season, and that they are really gonna go all in, and they're gonna prove people that last year was a complete fluke and that they will get things together in terms of next season to compete. And Simon is definitely a very good defender in MLS. I mean, when LAFC had him, he was a big part of that defense, and when they lost him and they of course traded him away, you saw how bad that defense LAFC got late in the season. So certainly a big piece for TFC to to get. And also for Cincinnati, getting this second spot in the allocation order means that now they are back in the top spot. So originally they were actually in the top spot of the allocation order. They could have got Lauren Simon, but instead they give it to TFC, and now they're back into the top spot of the allocation order because they were in second. Next up, Albert Rusnak re-signed with RSL until 2021 with a contract worth $2 million per year. I mean, that is a lot of money that Rusnak is going to earn in the next couple of years. But I think this was a contract that RSL had to give, and just something that RSL need to do, because Rusnak was a huge part of this team. And you saw how when he was not in that second leg against Sporting KC because he got suspended for accumulate too many yellow cards in the playoffs, how much they missed him. Because if Albert Rusnak was in that game against Sporting KC, then I really think RSL could have had a good chance to knock out Sporting KC and move on into the conference final and continue the Cinderella run in the playoffs. But because they missed him, and because how big of a player he is, I mean, besides Damar Krylak for this RSL team, Rusnak is right up there as the most important piece that RSL needs. And it's only fitting that RSL needs to keep hold of him and make sure he doesn't go anywhere. That's why they signed him to this big contract. Next up, a player that is on his way out and traded to another team is Chicago Fire defender Jonathan Campbell. Has been traded to the Seattle Sounders for a 4th round pick in 2020. And again, just like a couple of these news that I talked about above here, this was a news that I kind of mentioned back a couple of weeks ago in the news of the week, where there was a rumor that Chicago Fire defender Jonathan Campbell was going to be traded to the Sounders, and this news pretty much just confirms it. And again, like what I said before, I think this move by the Sounders is more for their depth in terms of their defense. I mean, their back line is certainly one of the most solid back line in the league, but they don't really have a lot of depth in terms of that back line. And getting Jonathan Campbell will definitely add to that depth piece. And then finally, to finish off the video, and usually sometime I try to finish off the video with a little bit of kind of humor and a little bit of sarcasm, but Brek Shea has joined Atlanta United via free agency, and this is probably, if you have to say what is the weirdest move and what is kind of the craziest move off this off season, this is going to be right up there as it is. And this move is just really strange, and if you talk to any Vancouver Whitecaps fan, you will know how bad Brek Shea is. Like, he is awful, and yet somehow, in some way, despite his awfulness with the Whitecaps, he still earns a ticket to join Atlanta United via free agency. I mean, that is, I mean, for Atlanta, I would say this is kind of good, because, since he's joining via free agency, that means that, you don't really need to pay Vancouver for anything to get him. And the fact that since he is an American, it doesn't take away any international spot that you have on your roster, but you will still have to pay him in terms of contract. And I would be very interested to see how much that Atlanta is going to pay Brek Shea. I doubt that it's going to be way less the amount of money that Vancouver paid him. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and Whitecaps fan can pretty much confirm this, they actually had Brek Shea as a DP a couple of years ago. And Brek Shea, to be honest, in his early days, he was kind of decent, and that there was definitely some promise in terms of his caliber in MLS, but it just fell apart in the last couple of years. And yeah, I don't know whether or not we'll ever see Brek Shea in an Atlanta shirt. I probably think we might, depending on, maybe he might come off as a substitute, but I will literally laugh my ass off, and I'm pretty sure Vancouver fans will laugh their ass off he ever start for Atlanta United. Maybe in the U.S. Open Cup, but other than that, yeah, this is a very strange move in many ways. But yeah, either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button. If you have any more news from these last couple of days, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.